What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Feeling Blue podcast. It's your boy, your host, CP, here with my co-host Aaron right beside me. And right beside him, we got very special recurring guest, Hit Squad, Chris from Hit Squad Productions. How are you, Chris? How are you doing? Thank you for joining the show. Yes, yet again, I should say.
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a great time talking with you too. And despite this loss, I'm excited to talk Giants ball with you guys.
Definitely. Aaron, how are you? Salute to you as well. How are you doing today, my man?
Man, I mean, I'm just glad that Dexter Lawrence is like our best Giants player right now, and I really hope we don't win any more games. Get that tank going.
Yeah, at the tank going. That's going to be a discussion here that we have coming up. We got all your latest Giants topics coming up on this show. We're going to be talking about it all. Not only the Giants Cowboys recap and the ugly, embarrassing loss we saw in Dallas, but the state of the New York Giants moving forward. Some of the things that we've seen, both in the press conferences, on the field, on the sidelines, all of that. We're going to be bringing it to you. We're going to be talking about it here today. Hit that thumbs up. If you're watching live, if you're watching, tuning in, make sure you go ahead and comment. I'll prop up all the comments. We'll have a discussion. Want to get everybody engaged, all of my Giants fans' opinions up in the chat. And even if you're not a Giants fan, you're more than welcome to comment. And hit that subscribe button if you're watching on my channel, bottom right-hand corner. If you're on the That's My Sports podcast on YouTube, bottom right-hand corner of theirs. And I linked everybody's everybody's YouTube channel in the description down below. So navigate over and go ahead and subscribe to Hit Squad Productions as well. Join that podcast. A lot of great content coming out weekly. You can't miss it. So you got to go subscribe down in the subscription, all those words, fumbling with it. Go ahead and subscribe. You just know what to do. We got another fourth box here. If you're wondering why it's empty, our boy Rodney from the Big Blue Corner is going to be showing up anytime soon. We left a nice little warm spot for him, so whenever he gets in the chat, we will go ahead and prop him up, and we'll talk some Giants football. But we're going to take it away here, fellas. Week 10, I had to do it. Are we done yet? I just have to ask. The season is just dragging on. It's the Mets season 2.0. It just feels like we are ready for the offseason. We're ready for the draft talk, and we're going to be talking about draft placement, et cetera, here coming up. But I want to get into this embarrassing loss. Giants fall to the Cowboys for the second time this season. I'm not sure which one was more embarrassing, the season opener or this one in Dallas. 49-17. Giants get a couple garbage time touchdowns under their belt. We'll get into our takeaways here right now, actually. Let's get into our takeaways of the game. Chris, I'm going to start off with you. Give me just an emotional dump, because I feel like there's no logical way to approach any of these recaps anymore with what we saw. Give us your emotional baggage, your emotional dumpage of this game that you saw right in front of you, that we all saw this embarrassment on Sunday. Let us know what you got.
Yeah. And look, Giants fall at 2-8 on the season, 49-17. Really, the only positive I left with this game is that currently the Giants own the second overall pick. Anyone that knows me, I hate tanking. I never want to see my team lose, even if I feel that we should lose this game. I'm always count on my team to go and win it. But this year has felt so long. This season has felt so long, and this past week didn't help. The Giants offense, I mean, it felt like we couldn't put drives together. The ground game really wasn't going until garbage time in the fourth quarter with Saquon Barkley. Tommy DeVito, look, I know a lot of people, they want to see the young guy, be successful, homegrown kid, 9 miles from the stadium, lives with his mama, eats chicken cutlets. I mean, people want to see this kid ball. I get it. But at the end of the day, he's an undrafted quarterback for a reason. He wasn't meant to start. He's not an NFL quarterback. And just being honest here, he did not look good in this game whatsoever. Now, I know some people will point to, different factors, such as the offensive line, receivers not getting open. But, I mean, what more could you really expect from an undrafted quarterback? So my expectations, especially when we were talking about this for the pregame video, my expectations were pretty low. going into this game. Dallas was the better team in every way, shape, and form. I mean, on paper, and again, I don't think a lot of Giants fans were really expecting a win, but for the Giants defense to give up 640 total yards on defense is embarrassing, considering that that's been the strong suit for the New York Giants this season. I felt that this was the worst game that we saw from our secondary. It felt like CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Brandon Cooks had their way with the New York Giants. They did whatever they wanted to do, and the Giants couldn't stop them whatsoever. This is year 2 of Wink's defense not being able to put a sack on Dak Prescott. I will say, though, me personally, like it sucks that the Giants are losing this year and that we are abysmal. But Dexter Lawrence, week in and week out, continues to create havoc and continues to show just how dominant he is at his position. I mean, there's a play going around that a lot of people are getting hyped of Dexter Lawrence shedding the center and both guards, and Tyler Smith and I'm forgetting his other name at the moment. I don't believe it was Biotish. They both pull out, and you got 3 linemen blocking Dexter Lawrence, and he's still finding a way to get through to that. And I mean, it's just unheard of. So it sucks that the Giants are in a situation where nobody's really paying attention to them whatsoever. But if the Giants had a good record, I really do believe that Dexter Lawrence would be in the Defensive Player of the Year race right now. I think what he's doing is incredible at the position. But outside of that, I can't really take nothing positive from the defense. I mean, Cordell Flott, he got an interception. That was nice to see. Darnay Holmes, interception in garbage time. It sucks. It sucks in Giants land. You said it earlier, Chris. These are some dark times, and that's what it is. Tommy DeVito didn't get killed in the way that I thought he was going to get killed, even though we only gave up 5 sacks. But
only, right? Yeah, exactly.
Dark times, man. Dark times.
Absolutely. Shout out the chat too. We got Stevie Mac 23 in the house. I believe Stevie is a Cowboys fan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's a Cowboys fan. Always a frequent listener of the show. Man, your play calling early in that game was pretty bad. Our play calling has been bad for as long as I can remember this season, to be honest with you. Ever since even that Arizona game in the first half. So it's been bad. So like I said, if you're tuning in, make sure you drop in those comments, hit that thumbs up, and just let us know. We're doing a whole big emotional dump right now. Like we don't even have, like, we have our talking points, but we're just going to go off the rails here too, because there's a lot to talk about with this team. There's like just a multitude of thoughts in our brains right now. So yeah, and there you go. He is a Cowboys fan. So I know you're feeling high and mighty, always beating up on the little Giants. So I feel you, Stevie. Enjoy it while you can until the playoffs start up, because that's going to be a different story. Aaron, go ahead. Aaron, take it away. What did you think about this game?
Oh, boy. Where to start? Pretty much all 3 of us could catch passes on the Giants defense on Sunday. That's pretty much what it looked like. Brandon Cooks was looking like he was from on the Patriots and or LA Rams. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Deontay Banks had his worst game. I think his grade was like a 35.1 or something like that. The lowest of the season. His ankles were literally getting snapped, it seemed like, just because I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. No pressures on Dak. He was pretty much just having our way with us. What is with that 4th and 2 call when we're in scoring position and we run the ball on 4th and 2? I don't. You need a touchdown. And if you're not going to get a touchdown, go for the 3 points. I know we have Randy Bullock, and we've seen what happened last year against us where he missed that game-winning field goal. But come on, like, you got to get points on the board, man. So that one was a little rough. In the beginning, Saquon was looking a little pitter-patterish. I keep seeing a lot of people on X saying that this is our franchise guy. That we should build. Dude, I'm honestly tired of him. He's not running like Giants football is supposed to. And I've seen a lot of Giants running backs in my day. I would pick Derek Ward over this guy. I would pick Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dane over this guy. This is how just frustrating I am with this dude, because I get it. You've been hurt a lot. But you got to run north-south. You got to be aggressive, and he's just not aggressive out there. Like in 2011, when we had the Brandon Jacobs, we had Earth, Wind, Fire pretty much still. We had the 31st offensive line in the league, and we still produced touchdowns, and we still had those guys running north-south, playing hard-nosed football. Like we're the Cleveland Browns. I hate to admit it. I've been saying it for the last 3 years, but we are definitely Cleveland. Mike Kafka is apparently going to be here to stay because Northwestern just hired their interim head coach to be their head coach. So unless Mike Kafka gets fired or he wants to go over Northwestern to be their coordinator, he's staying. I know Ken Dorsey got fired after the Bills debacle, but I don't think he's coming over. And I don't see any positives, obviously, besides what Chris said with Dexter Lawrence. That dude was pounding through 1,000-pound combined linemen through that entire game. That's like our only good hope right there on the defense. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And he couldn't even find a way to escape the drama with the whole post-game press conference and leaving because it was his birthday, and he had to put a whole video out there on X and explain the situation. And I don't know, man. The beat reporters, I get it. It's tough times for them too. They're trying to get answers for the general public, Giants fans, but there's a certain way you go about that. But more in terms of the game here, just to kind of relay on what you guys are all saying. The very first play of the game, the coaching hasn't been great this year, and I firmly believe when we're talking about the coordinators and whether Wing Martindale is going to be here next year, whether Mike Kafka is going to be here next year. A lot of people are questioning whether Brian Daboll is going to be here next year because John Mara is getting a little antsy and he has a little bit of a short fuse when it comes to firing coaches as of the last decade, I want to say. So that Brian Daboll is going to be here next year. I'm not going to say that he's not because he's going to be here next year. I think he deserves to be here next year. I don't think that he deserves, after this failed season, with the way that he was set up and with the way the injuries have gone, I don't think that he deserves to get that sort of criticism on that front. But it's plays, and this is not just this game. It's been plays that you see, the little plays that you just kind of scratch your head and make you wonder, like, what was the thought process going into that? And we saw that happen in the very first play of the game. Challenge is a play. I think he clearly threw the challenge flag, if I'm not mistaken. The referees were I guess sort of shocked. The broadcast was even shocked that he even threw the flag to challenge that play because there's no way a fumble. And it ended up saying he went to the referees and said he actually didn't want to challenge, but since he threw the flag, they had to take the timeout away from the Giants, and the Giants were already down a timeout after the first play of the game. So it's little things like that that just make me wonder, I know there's discombobulation amongst the team right now, but the one constant that should always happen, no matter how bad your team is the coaching needs to get those little things right. And because this is how you lose trust among the fan base, right? We're sitting here basically sort of, I think you guys would agree that Brian Daboll is going to be here next year, but this is how you quickly lose trust of the fan base. And I think Rodney just popped in here as well, so we're going to add him to the stage. What up, Rodney? Make sure you guys are subscribing to Rodney's YouTube, bottom description, the Big Blue Corner. Make sure you subscribe over there. I can't get the word right, the description. But Rodney, just to fill you in, we're giving our thoughts and our just knowledge dump of our takes of this embarrassing loss to the Cowboys. And I'm kind of just talking and going over that blunder of first play in terms of where the Giants lost a timeout right off the bat with the failed challenge. And it wasn't even a failed challenge because it didn't get reviewed. They just had to take away the timeout because Brian Daboll threw the flag. Chris was saying, Cooks and Lamb, I think Cooks had 170 plus yards. Lamb had about 140, 135 in the air. Darnay Holmes, yeah, he got a pick in garbage time, but Dak Prescott, when he's flailing and he throwing a lollipop, and the receiver's still able to catch it in front of Darnay Holmes, it's absolutely unbelievable. That's not professional football. That should not ever happen at the professional level. It's absolutely unbelievable. And shout out Chris, when we were doing the video on your channel, Chris, on Hit Squad's channel, he was talking about. I don't think he's here. I forgot his last name, but Chris, shout out him, subscriber to your channel. He said and asked if he thinks that if he thought that we would see Saquon run more Wildcat. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know how many times he lined up in that Wildcat formation. Clearly didn't work more often than not. And Saquon running the ball in general just didn't work that game. And it didn't work from the start, which is where Aaron was saying, why run it on that 4th and 2 when you know you need a touchdown in that scenario? It got stuffed. So a lot of bad decision making. What I will say is I will never, ever, with knowing what I know now in the Giants record, I will never be mad about going for a 4th down. I will never be mad about it. I don't care what position you are on the field. I'll never be mad about going for a 4th down. But running the ball in that scenario just didn't make too much sense to me. Saquon got stuffed numerous times before that play was even ran, and they were lucky to even be in that part of the field. I believe it was with the interception, or how? No, it was interception, correct? If I'm not mistaken, it was interception, right?
It was.
Yeah. They were lucky to be even in that part of the field because that happened too often when Dan DeVito's under center. So, Rodney, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome. First introduce yourself, obviously, whatever you do, plug yourself a little bit, and then also tell us what you thought, your raw feelings about this game.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can hear you. Yep, perfect.
Yep. Okay. Big Blue Corner. I'm on Twitter. I'm going to start posting a lot of stuff and also start doing some more videos. I will say this. That was a disappointing loss. Hands down, a disappointing loss. Again, there's really no more. There's no words that I have for that game. What I saw, and this is just my opinion, it almost looked like the first game all over again, where we looked unprepared for this game. Unprepared. Now, I'm not going to put too much on Tommy DeVito. He's a undrafted rookie coming in, and that's a lot to put on that kid's shoulders, especially for the simple fact of how last week was the first week he actually took snaps with the first team in practice. That was the first time he was taking snaps with the first team. That right there is disappointing in and of itself, for the simple fact when Daniel Jones went down and you had Tommy DeVito as a backup, knowing that Tyrod Taylor is in, knowing that Tyrod Taylor is quote-unquote injury prone, you should have had both of them going back and forth, doing something to where he's getting an understanding of what this offense is, who the players he's playing with. That didn't happen. So now this kid get thrust all in the mix. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't really expecting a whole lot. Maybe I was expecting maybe just a little bit of some sort of offense, maybe. But I it's almost like I said, it's just like we just look unprepared in every aspect of that game.
Yep.
That I actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about that 4th down play, which didn't make any sense whatsoever. And the first thing that I thought of after that play, why in God's good graces did Dable, no, minus that, you know what? Dable and Kafka, because Kafka has to tell him to play. He has to, he's part of that. He's going to okay that play. Why are you giving it to Saquon Barkley when you know everybody knows, everybody in the building knows that's who you're going to go to get that, what was it, 1-2 yards? Everybody knows that.
Yep.
The whole entire time they were stacking the box. They were not afraid of our passing game. They were not afraid at all. Every time I even go back to that game, and all I saw was 7, 8, 9 players in the box, especially when Saquon was on the field. Why are you giving it to Saquon when they're game planning for that? This isn't rocket science. Everybody knows this. Look at the field. I challenge you guys. I challenge the listeners too. Watch the replay of that game from its entirety. watch the Dallas defense. They might play one or two high safety, but one of those safeties is down. There's always 7, 8 guys in the box. Always.
It was looking like the old Rams teams when Todd Gurley was there. Before they went to the Super Bowl, they were stacking 8 in the box. They all knew Todd Gurley was just going to run the ball.
Exactly. And that's what they're expecting. Every team that we're going to go up against, they're not respecting the pass. They're just not.
Yep.
You can see that.
How can you though? How can you? I mean, it's Tommy DeVito. They've been showing unwillingness to trust in him anyways. So I just how can you? That's my take on it too. So yeah, completely agree. Stevie Mack says not just only losing trust with their fan base in terms of what you were saying, Rodney, and being discombobulated all across the board with those play calls, but also losing trust and faith in your own players as well, and the players and you vice versa. That's a lot to be said there too. And we saw that with the whole Darius Slayton situation on the sideline as well. Apparently he was pissed off and tried to voice his frustrations with the wide receiver coach, Mike Groh, and Sterling Shepard had to come over as the veteran player and kind of calm him down. Now we never, ever, ever see Darius Slayton in a situation when he's pissed off like that. He is an even-keeled guy through and through in his press conferences or his post-game interviews and on the field. But something was not sitting right with him. Absolutely unbelievable. And it's just a testament to how much of a discombobulated season this truly has been for the New York Giants. So yeah, I got no idea. Predictable offense, 100%. Jaden, shout out you tuning in. Appreciate it. Thank you for everybody listening. Drop those comments on what you guys want to get answered, get our takes on, and this is what I'm saying. On that 4th and 2 play, I would have rather just ran a read option with Tommy DeVito. Try to fake him out with Saquon running up that gut and run the read option. Maybe you get a nice little run in for a touchdown like you did with the Jets when they ran that read option, when everybody and their moms thought it was going to Saquon Barkley and he was able to run in for the touchdown. Like something like that to at least show me that you're thinking that you are going to go above and beyond in terms of trying to at least fool the defense and not running the same old. So
They just don't trust them.
That's what I got. Anybody else got any takeaways on this game? Because we got a lot to talk about in terms of the future state of this team moving forward. But definitely let's air our frustrations out. This is an open floor, open mic. Anybody gotta get to it.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a really frustrating game, and I mean, like I said earlier, you know, when I was giving my opinions on the game, I mean, my expectations were low, but looking at it now, I mean, I think even going against Washington, they're a little bit lower, and I could see this being a game that the Giants fuck around and win, and I want to be upset about it, but like again, I never want to see my team lose. But if we're being honest here, it's like if there's any year for the Giants to lose, it's this one. It's this one. What is it going to do if you go out and win a couple games right now, outside of pushing you out of reach of potentially landing a high ceiling quarterback in May and Caleb Williams? Because at the moment, if the draft were to start today, they're at pick number 2. And I think we can all agree that either one of those quarterbacks would be a huge upgrade over Daniel Jones. And I'm a huge Daniel Jones supporter, but like, we got to be real here. And Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, they deserve that. And I'm tired of seeing, you know, all of these people on X trying to call for Daboll's job, trying to call for Wink's job. You want to call for Kafka's job? Cool. I'm not going to argue with you, but like, Wink is the least of my damn problems. The least of my problems. And we've seen what Brian Daboll's been able to do. I mean, looking at it in hindsight now, last year, I got to give him even more credit for being able to put that roster together, which, I mean, on paper at least, is less talented than what we have right now. And he got a very good performance out of them last season. They won a playoff game. You know, they showed, I mean, they gave a lot of fans, including myself, you know, reason to believe that, okay, like, if we make some additions going into this season, with how weak the NFC is, why can't they go back to the playoffs again? Why can't they win 11 games, 10 games? Obviously, you know, last year's looking like a blip. I've been really just pushing it off. I think a lot of other fans have been quicker to it than I have. But last year it's starting to look like a blip. It's starting to look like, okay, like they really got lucky in a lot of these games. You know, things really went their way. Whereas this year, things are not going their way. And honestly, I got to say this really quick because I was actually talking about it with a friend of mine yesterday. I don't know how, you know, teams like the Baltimore Ravens, year in and year out, they deal with this injury bug. You look at the list of players year in and year out that get injured on the Ravens. I asked myself, I'm like, how are they fielding a football team out there? Like, and they don't miss a beat. They don't miss a beat. But God forbid the Giants are missing their third string offensive tackle that they picked off of a practice squad, where everything is going to fucking shit. Everything is going to shit. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but the Giants were just not a good team right now. It sucks because we have what 7 more weeks of this, 8 more weeks of this. Yeah, it's not looking good. They got some winnable games, sure, going down this stretch with Washington, with the Patriots, Green Bay. Some will say that's winnable, especially if Tyrod Taylor comes back. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm here to go on the record. Sit Tyrod Taylor. That man has been through hell the last couple years, year in and year out through injury. Let's see what you have in Tommy DeVito, and just ride it out with Tommy for the rest of the year, or Barkley, Matt Barkley.
See what you have.
See what. That's why I did this. See what you have. In Tommy DeVito. See if he can be someone you develop to compete for your quarterback 3 next year, and just keep it moving. I mean, I'm honestly like, I'm very interested to see that Giants and Patriots game.
You're in on tanking it.
Out tank who?
It's gonna be that South Park episode where they're playing baseball and they're trying to lose intentionally.
I love that
one. Next round.
I love that one. Hey, we just want to get out of here.
Yeah, no, it's. I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, man, who is going to out tank who? Because you look at the Patriots, and I don't know if y'all just saw them this past week. They look like a team that's like, ayo, like we are fucking tanking. We have that. We are tanking. We need to hit the reset button. And I feel like, honestly, I understand the Panthers are a bad team too. You can make an argument they are the worst team in the league. I would say the Giants, but you could say that they're the worst team in the league. But I really do think, and this is just a way too early prediction, I do believe that the top 2 picks will be the New York Giants and the New England Patriots. I'm in the minority. I do think that Carolina, because Bryce Young isn't no scrub. I understand he's not doing good right now, but like, look at the situation that he's in. Look at the coaching staff that he has at the moment. I think that towards the later half of the season, I can see them winning 1 or 2 games at most. That's just me trying to be optimistic because, man, I need Caleb Williams in the Giants uniform. I'm letting y'all know right now, if we have the number 1 pick, by the ending of the 4th quarter, that pre-made custom New York Giants jersey on the website with Williams on the back and 13 on the front in 3XL will be at my door in a week. Book it.
Book it.
Book it.
All right.
Is he getting 13 with Jalen Hyatt?
Let me tell you something. I know some people will say no, but money talk. And first overall pick money talk. So I mean,
NIL money talks.
And NIL money talk. So I think
that's right.
Hey, yo, Jalen, I know you're trying to create your own legacy in that 13. Create a legacy with these bands real quick. You feel me? Like,
seriously,
you can find a new.
They can work out a deal. Caleb can just say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to throw you the ball downfield like you've never seen it before."
Rip that 2 off of Tyrod and put it on Jalen Hyatt. Rip it off his back.
Go.
There you go. Give it to Jalen Hyatt.
Let's move on a little bit because. Yeah, no, go ahead.
So, are you guys convinced that Caleb Williams is going to be coming out?
Oh yeah,
I don't think so.
The only player I feel that will not come out is Shador, and I honestly don't agree with that, especially with how that offensive line looks. But what do I know? What do I know?
From what I heard, this is just stuff that I read on Twitter, and he's not planning on coming out.
I don't blame
The
him.
idea,
Can you?
the idea
I was
is,
gonna say, yeah.
the idea is with Caleb Williams is that he can make more money in college through NIL than he can practically make his rookie season. Is it possible? Maybe. Who knows? I'm not saying that the kid is not NFL ready. He's got a very good arm. He's got really good arm talent. But that nonsense that he pulled at the end of that game, where he ran into the stands and he was crying on his mother's shoulder, come on, bro.
I don't got a problem with it. I gotta be real. I don't got a problem
Yeah,
with it.
I don't either. Like,
I don't cry before. I mean, obviously, I've never played in the NFL. I don't got no issues with it. But you know what? Because I know that there's a lot of people that do feel that way, you know, and I've seen some people make some, you know, compelling points. You know, I'm like, okay, you know, but if he crying and he's throwing dimes and winning us games, man, I'm cool.
There's a movie, okay? What is it? A League of Their Own? About the women's baseball. Tom Hanks had a very good saying.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
No crying.
There is no crying in baseball. All right. There's no crying in football.
I hear you.
Unless you win that Super Bowl. Okay, you win that ring. Okay, I could give you give you that. But come on now.
I hear both sides of the argument, but what I will say in terms of what you said, Rodney, about the NIL stuff before we get into the defensive and offensive ranks so far with the Giants, which if you can just take a sneak peek at, it's not too pretty. You can sure, I believe you can. Okay, I think you can make maybe just as much NIL money out, you know, maybe if not more than what you would get for a first round bonus on top of your rookie salary from whoever takes you, right? But one, what kind of message is that sending NFL GMs and owners? That sets a precedent for you. And you've already set a precedent for yourself by, I think it's now factual confirmed that he's actually threw the idea out that he wants some sort of stake in the team that he's going to get drafted to. That's one. Two, you go and say you can make more NIL money and you delay your draft. Like, are you in this for the money or in this for the love of the game and helping a team win? You can be in it for both because get your bag. By all means, you got to get your bag, right? But there's just like a sense of like entitlement at that point for me. So I hope that's not the case with him. I hope he makes the right decision because I think you can make that bonus money back. And then you play well, you get a fat contract. So, and three, from the perspective of him, why would you risk going out there in college and getting injured again? Or at period, not again, I'll say period, and never potentially even making it into the first round of the draft, given an injury history. Like we're all talking about Michael Penix Jr. right now and his injury history. Like that doesn't make too much sense to me. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think that he's going to go back to college. I think he would be foolish to go back to college. I understand, you know, the argument of the NIL, especially where, you know, the NIL is going. But, you know, I think at least with how this year is going, I mean, I feel like this is his best shot, you know, to land that number 1, number 2 overall pick at worst. You know, we don't know what's going to happen next year. We only know what's happening right now. So right now, you know, you're a potential first overall pick. Yep. That's not to be said, you know, the following year. You know, we don't know how, and I don't think, you know, the next QB class is going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I think there's some potential, you know, but I think his best option would be to go out, you know, for this year, enter into this draft. Now, I will say, if I'm putting myself in Caleb's shoes, if when it's all said and done, teams like Chicago and like New England got, you know, the second overall pick, and, you know, Chicago got that first overall pick, I don't think I could blame bro if he went back. I just got to be real, because I'm sure as hell not going to Chicago and having to deal with everything that Chicago got going on, and all the bullshit that they go through. Do I really want to deal with Bill Belichick at the moment? Who there's rumors, obviously that he may not be on the Patriots payroll by next year in terms of
Yeah,
being
I
on
did hear that.
as a coach. I don't really buy into it until I see it happen. I can't see it. I can't see it happening. But in that kind of a situation, I can't blame him. But I don't think it happens. I really don't. I mean, there's so many things and so many smoke screens that come out at around this time of the year, and it's only going to get deeper and deeper as as the season goes. With these rumors and reports. But I think he enters into this year's draft, and I do believe that the New York Giants select.
I wouldn't be
There you go. I
surprised.
know you're
I
very
wouldn't be
adamant about
surprised if Gannon trades Kyler Murray and gets Caleb Williams at number 1, like everyone was saying in the beginning of the season.
He's not
I
going
can
to
see it happen
Arizona.
because they did that with Josh Rosen.
They
It's
did.
Josh
That
Rosen,
that contract is untradeable, Aaron. No one's trading for that contract. I promise you. Nobody's trading for that contract.
I mean the Falcons
I
might.
promise you.
I mean,
I-
shoot. If not to cut you off, I mean, if Shador enters into this year's draft, I mean, I don't want to see him go to Atlanta, but that might be a situation where I don't think that would be a bad situation at all. I think it'd be better than New England. I think it'd be better than Minnesota at the moment, at least currently. Actually, no, I take that back. I would love to see Shador with Jettis and Jordan Addison and that offensive line, but I doubt that happens. I think they have the longest streak right now for wins in the NFL for this year at 6. So
Stevie says if he stays in college, talking about Caleb Williams, all he's doing is prolonging the inevitable of one of the worst teams drafting him. If Caleb gets hurt in college, you can kiss all that rookie NFL/commercial money goodbye. Agreed, because the NIL money will get you a year's worth of a bag, maybe 2, or I don't know exactly what his situation is going to be. But that long term, the injury history, or not the injury history, I'm not saying injury history, but the injury risk really does play a factor. So I agree with you, Chris. I think he's coming in. I think he's going to get drafted. Now, that's to say, who's to say that, somebody else drafts him and he pulls a, Eli Manning, oh, I don't want to go here. You trade me to New York or wherever you find a deal and we make that work. So he can still pull that, but maybe that's Chicago, maybe that's somewhere else. But
I could
we
see
got
something like
Coach.
that happening.
Yeah. We got Coach in the house, peace and blessings.
What's up,
And he
Coach?
says his squad, the living legend. There you go. That's
Much
what we
love,
got him on the
Coach.
show.
Hope you're good, bro.
There you go. So let's take a look at it. The defensive and offensive ranks for the New York Giants. As you can tell, it's not pretty. Offense is worse than the defense. Saquon Barkley, why he has my respect is that the rushing offense is still a modest 13th ranked in the league. But as you can see, the overall scoring and the passing offense is dead last, 32nd in the league. Defense, although they've had their good weeks, Buffalo was a good week. The Jets game was a good week. The Commanders was a good week. Still not great, right? Still not great. We saw it in the Dallas game. Fellas, I don't really have much to say about this. I don't really want to talk too long about this because these numbers really do speak for itself. But anything that we can speak in terms of these metrics, one of my takeaways when we were doing that video on your channel, Chris, on Hit Squad Productions, was I want to see how this defense for the rest of the way. If there's going to be any sort of positives that I take from now until the offseason after the final game, it's how the defense contributes and how they persevere given how bad the offense is. We didn't see that in Dallas. Maybe after the first, maybe I want to say half a quarter, somewhere around there, getting a couple stops, getting the pick. Then they just folded. So that's my one thing that I'm watching for. Like you said, no pressure, no sacks on Dak Prescott. Kayvon Thibodeau, he was going well. He's starting to trend upward. Got 8.5 sacks, and last couple games, I haven't heard his name called that much. But that's not just him. This is everybody. Deonte Banks looked bad. I think pretty much the mainstays on this defense is Dexter Lawrence, Bobby O, who's been a menace this year. Great signing for the Giants, and then Micah McFadden. Those are our top 3 defenders, to be honest with you.
Wow,
So,
no Jason Pinnock.
and then Kayvon
Disrespectful,
Thibodeau,
sir.
obviously, with 8.5 sacks. So, what do you guys make of these numbers, real quick?
I'll tell you what, man. If in terms of the passing defense, it didn't look like the 21st passing defense last week. I'll tell you that much. It didn't. And again, like I was saying earlier, for the people that are just coming in, the defense has been a bright spot for the Giants this year so far. And I agree with you, Chris. That is something that I'm excited to see for the rest of the year. I do believe that we have some building blocks on that defensive side of the ball, but we can't see a performance like we saw against the Dallas Cowboys going forward. Outside of a couple teams, a la like Philly, I don't think we will. Again, the Giants have a more favorable schedule, at least going down this little stretch here. So I don't think that they will. I don't think, we're going to see a performance like Deonte Banks had, where that's arguably his worst performance. I don't think, we're going to see another team that we play drop 49 points on them. Hopefully. But looking at the schedule outside of, Philly, I can't see it happening. But again, 640 total yards, given up to Dallas. That's, we're talking like that's Madden numbers. That's Madden numbers. And, I was really shocked seeing the defense come out like that. And, one thing that really, was kind of telling to me was the Giants defense. You look at Dallas's first 2 drives in that game, Giants were able to lock them up in the red zone. They get the ball back. You give the ball to the offense. Offense punts the ball. Dallas, gets the ball back. Giants are able to stall their drive on the defensive side of the ball. Offense comes back on the field, pumps the ball. And at some point, and it's hard to ask this from an offense that hasn't really shown you it this season. But at some point, the offense has to help this defense out and has to, at least be able to put some drives together and put some points on the board. Again, it's hard to ask that when they really haven't been able to do it, when you have an undrafted quarterback in Tommy DeVito. But the defense, they looked like they kind of fell on their face last week. Outside of, Dexter Lawrence, I saw a tweet earlier. I'm not even going to say his name. Giants legend, saying Jason Pinnock is a top 10 safety. I love you, bud. He's not, but that doesn't mean that Jason Pinnock isn't a good safety. He's been a bright spot. I'm actually really excited to see his progression in this defense. But honestly, and you guys could tell me, I would really love to get your guys' thoughts on this. I do believe that the Giants defense, you add them, another solid edge rusher, across from Kayvon. You get your quarterback too, maybe another linebacker, adding another piece at safety, depending what happens with McKinney. This defense can be an elite defense. It can be an elite defense. Now, obviously, I'm trying to figure out why Jordan Riley isn't getting playing time. But, they're going to have to address the defensive tackle position as well, because you're kind of seeing it where teams are just honing in on Dexter Lawrence. And I'm looking at guys like Kayvon to, really take advantage of that. And granted, he has 8.5 sacks, but there are plays, this year where tight ends are really shutting him down at the line. He's not being able to break off some of the blocks. One thing I did see in this Dallas game, and I'd love to get, Coach's thought on this, because if you guys don't know, which y'all should know, Coach is an excellent mind in the game of football. Coaching in many facets on different levels on both sides, almost all sides of the ball. I'd love to get his thoughts on this, but Kayvon, we saw this last year. You're seeing it this year. Even though he's being held, I'd like to see him fight through those holds instead of just lifting his arms up in the air and, try to plea for a flag. I get it in certain aspects, but there's times where I'm just like, dude, you got to fight through those flags and make it look egregious. Like, hey, yo, like, at least show that, because there was a couple plays, against Dallas. There's one in particular, I believe it was actually a running play where, Kayvon's being held. He got his arms up, and instead of fighting through that, it was a big run, and the running back ran right past him. The running back ran right past the dude. I wish people watching this, I wish you guys can go and clip that. But I remember seeing that play, and I'm like, Kayvon, you got to fight through plays like that. But I'm hoping that the defense doesn't put up a performance like they did against Dallas going into this week. I doubt it. This is the Commanders. Despite Sam Howell leading the league in yards,
Crazy.
I still believe that the Giants team, even on their worst day, can handle this team. Dexter Lawrence seems to always ball out. Same with Saquon. We'll see what happens.
The only thing I'm glad about is that the DB room is getting the experience. I remember when we first did the first episode here, we were very high on what Wink was doing with Trey Hawkins, Deontay Banks, and putting Adoree in the slot, just kind of get them going with the reps. So, I mean, they have been struggling, a good amount of the season, but at least they're getting the reps in, so that way next year it won't be like a big question mark or concern. We can do what you just said, Chris, with the defensive line front. Hopefully, get that front seven back in action, because that was our strength, for the 2 Super Bowl runs and even in the middle of that. So if we can do that in the offseason, that would be great. But I'm just glad that the DB room is just getting all this experience in. So that way, when Xavier McKinney leaves to go to Washington, play that Landon Collins route, at least we have backups that have already played that can become starters.
Yeah.
My question is, before I let you go, Rodney, I have one pressing question. I'm actually going to ask this to you, Rodney, and I want to get your take on it. Trey Hawkins, he's looked okay this season, hasn't looked great, to be honest with you. And I think moving forward, trusting him and entrusting him to be your second corner on the outside, if you want that elite defense like Chris was just talking about moving forward, is a little bit of a stretch. If Adoree doesn't go anywhere, they don't find any trade partners for him. Do you move Adoree back out as your starting cornerback on the outside alongside Deontay Banks, and then try to put in maybe Cordell Flott in the slot corner, if not go draft one this season, this draft? Or how do you play that? Because I just don't know if Trey Hawkins really is going to be the answer. They thought they found a hidden gem in Trey Hawkins in the 6th round. Are you pulling the plug on that this early going into next season, or are you going to go ahead and start that camp off with Trey Hawkins as your starting CB2? What do you think?
Are we talking about next season, correct?
Next season, correct.
I want Darnay Holmes off this team because I don't think he really
Hell yeah. Should have been cut in the offseason.
Just, I really think he needs to go. Aaron, you brought up some good points as far as the CB room. The problem is that outside of Deontay Banks, I would definitely keep Nick McLeod as well. But outside of those two guys, and who else is there? Aaron Robinson's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry. Cordell Flott, Deontay Banks, and Nick McLeod. Going into next season, well, actually, you know what? Let's start now. I'm putting Trey Hawkins in. Now, he needs the reps, and I think that's really, really, really important now, just for the simple fact we already know where the season's going. So get these young guys the reps that they need. This is really, really important. As far as the whole team as a whole, you want to see who's going to be here and who's not. Who's putting forth that effort and who's not. He hasn't shown me that he's ready 100%. He hasn't shown me that. He's still making, obviously he's making rookie mistakes. He's getting burnt. I've seen a lot of holes and he's getting beat numerous times. I would love to see him take over that outside spot unless you trust Cordell Flott to take out that other outside spot alongside Deontay Banks. Now, can Cordell Flott play the outside? Yes. I I just don't trust him enough to put him on the outside. I think in that sense, you would definitely have to bring in another cornerback. If you have enough trust with Nick McLeod to put him out there, you're going to have to see which one he fits in, which position he fits in best, whether that's in the slot or on the outside. Somehow, some way, those are the things that you need to find out. If you already have your foundational piece in Deonte Banks there, all these guys now, this is pretty much evaluation period. This is the evaluation period going into next season.
Yep.
Because at some point, you will know who you're bringing back. You know who you're letting go. And if Wink stays, which I sincerely hope he does, you go and attack, whether it's free agency or in the draft, bring in the guys that you know that Wink needs, Wink that fits Wink's system to a T. Cordell Flott fits his system. Deonte Banks fits his system. Nick McLeod fits his system. I just think with Trey Hawkins, he just needs time. What was he, 5th or 6th round pick? Or
sixth round pick, yeah.
Sixth round.
Yep.
He needs time to develop. That's very, very important. You have to give these guys time to develop. I had my reservations at first when I saw that he was going to be starting, or at least first one, one of the first guys off the bench or whatever the case may be. I had my reservations about that because when I saw him in preseason, he looked good. Don't get me wrong, but I saw a lot of things where if he goes up against a seasoned veteran, he's gonna get burnt. Those double moves to kill him.
Michael Gallup burned him really badly.
He burned him.
But that was great coverage by him too. If you go back and look at that play, he should have turned his head around, but I thought that was solid coverage by him, and that was just a really good pass by Dak Prescott and a great catch by Michael Gallup, which
it's a beautiful play.
Looking back at it in hindsight, it was just one of those games, man. I mean, you look back at that play where, Dak Prescott's getting hit and it looks like he's throwing the ball out of bounds, links up with CeeDee Lamb. It was just one of those games, where Dak was on fire. I hate saying this, but Dak owns the New York Giants. It pains me to say it because, it's like you see what he does to other teams, and it's just like, damn, bro, like, where is that Dak Prescott? This man plays this and turns into, fucking Thanos. Like, with all the Infinity Stones. Like, it's crazy sometimes.
Yep, Dak is to the Giants what Tom Brady was to the Bills.
I'll give you a better example. Dak is to the Giants what Daniel Jones is to the Commanders.
Okay.
There you go. Speaking of, there we go. We are now moving into week 11, gentlemen. We are playing the aforementioned Commanders. We already have a W against them this season. We're not going to have Tyrod there. We're not going to have the Commanders' daddy there, Daniel Jones. Those guys are out. What are the expectations realistically? Chris, I know you said they can mess around and win this game in your mind. In Washington or Landover, Maryland, I should say. The Commanders are coming off a loss, but they had a little bit of a shootout with the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Howell has the most passing yards of any QB in the league. He's also been sacked the most times out of any QB in the league. He looks decent. I'll say this. He looks decent, right? He looks competent in being able to go drive down the field and score the ball. What is the expectations? Aaron, I'm going to start with you. What are your expectations for week 11?
Be able to watch the game fully. I don't think I've watched a full game in like the last few weeks of how bad they've been playing, but I kind of want to see. He's on a milk carton right now, but I want to see like a big game out like Isaiah Hodgins or something. Like I don't know why he's not being used. He pretty much helped us down the stretch last year. He doesn't have anything this year, and he's a big body, so I hope he gets more involved. I really want to see pass rush. If what you just said with Sam Howell getting sacked the most, we should be having a field day in the pass rush. So I want to see Kayvon with a few pressures, but definitely want some sacks. Sexy Dexy's going to do his thing. I want A'Shaun Robinson. Everybody forgets about him. He's been doing pretty solid since Leonard Williams has been traded to Seattle. I just want to see that front seven really just annihilate Sam Howell, because this is another team where it's like they're rebuilding, but they also like to try to make it in the playoffs. So they're all just discombobulated as a franchise. But yeah, I just want to see that front seven. And then Tommy DeVito's looking a little confident. He was running a lot, putting his head down against Dallas. So hopefully he just limits the interceptions, gets a little more confident in the pocket, just starts throwing some darts. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I got to be honest here. I think even with Tommy DeVito at quarterback, I still do believe that this Giants team fares well going against Washington, who now, compared to the last time we played them, they don't have a Chase Young, they don't have a Montez Sweat. But to the flip side of that, Sam Howell's looking more comfortable in the offense. He's looking more confident. They still do have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. What's his name? Diami Brown, I believe his name is. Probably butchering that up at the moment.
It's Diami.
But for me personally, I agree with you 100%, Aaron. Tommy DeVito is looking a little bit more confident. Like I said earlier, Dexter Lawrence and Saquon seem to both play really well against the Washington Commanders. Also, Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, I don't believe Kayvon will play in this game due to the fact that he does have a concussion. But we'll see. In my honest opinion, my expectations are the Giants, though I don't necessarily think that they should win this game, I do believe that they will. I think, again, they're just one of those teams that just, when it comes with the Commanders, even at their worst, the Giants have been able to beat the Commanders. Now, again, this is with Tommy DeVito, but, I do believe that this defense will have a better performance than what we saw against Dallas. I will say this much, Giants fans watching this that do want the Giants to win this game, you can hang your hat on this. Washington's defense looks abysmal. It looks absolutely abysmal. And you saw that in that Seattle game. So I could easily see, this be a heavy running game for Saquon and the Giants. I could see, some short and intermediate passes. Again, I agree with you, Aaron. Where is Isaiah Hodgins? Matter of fact, outside of Wan'Dale Robinson, where is this receiving core? Darius Slayton, you want to be, shouting and whatnot on the sideline? I got no problem with that. You need to show up. I need you to have yourself a little bit of a bounce back game here, because that secondary for Washington is extremely suspect. Extremely suspect. That defensive line, they have some studs in the interior. Outside of that, suspect. Linebackers, suspect. So the Giants, they should win this game, but is that the right thing that the Giants should do? You can make an argument no, you can make an argument yes, however you feel. I do think that the Giants do win this game, though, and honestly, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I could see this being like a 17-10 type of a game, and the Giants win this game. I don't think it's going to be a crazy game. Aaron, I wish I could be like you and, tune out the Giants in terms of watching it all the way through.
It just makes me mad. I never used to do this. But it's just, they're just pissing me off so much that I have to just turn it off. I can't.
Because I feel you. I get very mad and very frustrated. That's why I don't stream myself when I'm watching these games, because I curse a lot. I get very upset, and again, I think this isn't going to be no big time performance. I don't think it's going to be as entertaining as the first time we played Washington in MetLife, but I can see this being a heavy run game. I can see this being a game where the defense, quote unquote, gets right and, has a little bit of a bounce back game. Dexter Lawrence, masterclass. If Kayvon isn't playing, that's going to leave who? O'Shane and Zimenez, Azeez Ojulari, and Jahad Ward.
Oh, my God. Jahad's only good for run stopping. Even that.
All I'm going to say is, Aaron, go hit the gym and suit up.
Chris, go hit the gym. Well, you know what, though? I forgot. We forgot the biggest X factor. The biggest X factor here is that Chris CPNY Sports needs to go to this game. He went to the Washington game in the Meadows, and they won it. He needs to go down there this Sunday. It's the only way.
Listen,
I have being in the area. I do go to a lot of every time for the past couple of years, minus the COVID year, that the Giants visit FedEx Field. I have been there, and we do have a high success rate. I was there for the Kayvon strip sack. I was there for the Daniel Jones 5 TDs that put us out of contention for Chase Young. So I do have a little bit of a track record here with Giants wins at FedEx Field, but I will not be going there Sunday. I will be perfectly confined to my couch. And if need be, like Aaron, if it's a blowout, then I'll turn it off. But if it's competitive, I'll watch, and that's just how I'll spend my Sunday. But
Yep.
Rodney, what you got? You feeling the Giants dub, or are you not so optimistic as Chris is?
my optimism is limited, first of all. But continue, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm a bit optimistic about this game. My whole thing is what offensive line is going to show up. That's my concern. What offensive line is going to show up? I don't know if you guys are on Twitter. I know you won't. Have you seen that? I guess there was a tweet that someone put out as a run play for Saquon Barkley, where Marcus McKeithen literally is facing Saquon.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Okay. Now, that's what I'm talking about right there, is what offensive line is going to show up for this game. Is it going to be an offensive line where we're able to run the ball effectively and at least have some semblance of a passing game? That's the most important thing. My expectations, I hope we win this game. I'm not for tanking. Somehow, some way, if we're in a position to get a quarterback, Joe Shane and those guys will be able to get there. Whoever quarterback they feel is fit for this team. Whether that's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, McCarthy, Penix, whoever that guy is. I have faith that they'll be able to get that quarterback. But I'm not in for tanking. I'm in for going out there and putting in whatever, as much effort as you can to win. Is this a winnable game? Possibly. But everything has to literally work together. Offense, defense, special teams, everything has to fit. The other thing is Kafka going to show up and actually call some plays. Pull something out of your ass that we've never seen before, and let's see whether or not give these guys an opportunity to do it.
He tried that with that Bellinger throw thing. What was it against the Raiders?
Yeah, horrible. Okay,
Yeah,
I actually turned that game off. I didn't even want to watch anymore of that game.
Just halftime for me.
I was forced to watch the Dallas Cowboys game because my good buddy is a Cowboys fan, and I was at his crib watching that utter travesty. But anyway, my expectations, like I said, I hope that the New York Giants win this game. I want them to win. I want them to come out and just put it. You're not playing for anything. You're not playing for a playoff spot, a wild card, nothing. So instead of you not showing up, instead of you on the sidelines arguing and with your fellow players and coaches, go out there and do what you get paid to do. You get paid to play football. Go out there and do it. Show the fans what they want to see. Put a product on the field that the fans want to see. Simple as that. So my expectations, W for the Giants.
Yeah. And so we got a couple comments in here. We'll get to all of them. We got a Patriots fan in the house. I'm aware of that. But Stevie Mack over here says the Washington's pass defense is awful this season. Emmanuel Forbes, their first round pick, struggling mightily. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but he is struggling very badly. And I would definitely love to agree with this, Stevie, but we don't have anybody to get Jalen Hyatt the ball when he's burning past defensive
Yeah.
backs. So
Y'all
that
thought
should be the
DJ
game.
was underthrowing?
What was that?
Oh, I was saying y'all thought DJ was underthrowing?
Oh,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, this is not happening. Unfortunately, that should be the game plan. Maybe when we get Caleb or Drake May in here, maybe they can throw a deep bomb, but it's not happening. The best, probably the best option for that is probably Terrell Taylor, but he's up on the shelf right now. So, got our boy Hollywood
Hollywood
Ray
Ray.
in the chat. Says go Giants. We got a Patriots fan in the house. He's definitely rooting for a Giants win. I know that for sure. Can't wait
Oh,
for y'all to
yeah.
beat New England on the 26th. I know he wants to get that draft stock up.
Such an
Rodney's
ass.
all about winning. Rayshawn's all about losing.
You listen. You want to hear some rants? You go on That's My Sports. He has great Patriot rants. Now that he's very anti Belichick right now, and he never used to be.
Hey,
Love it.
Dark
Hollywood
times.
Ray. Hollywood Ray, what's your first choice? You want Caleb or you want Drake May? What's your guy? I'm curious. Throw it up in the chat. But that's a
Stick with Mac
perfect
Jones.
segue.
Stick with
Maybe
Mac
you want
Jones,
Mac Jones.
okay? Stick with them.
That's a perfect segue for this, gentleman. This is the updated 2024 NFL draft order. We got Chicago Giants coming in hot at number 2. Rayshawn's Patriots coming at number 3. Give them the scraps. Cardinals, and then that 5th spot. There you go.
He wants
Drake
your guy,
May.
Chris.
So,
He wants Drake May.
yeah, I mean, I'm a Drake May guy. I'm not gonna be mad. I know Chris over here is a Caleb Williams guy. I'm not mad at either one. I'm not gonna be mad at either one. So, Chris, from these top 5 right here, how do you think it shakes out? As if the season ended today, those top 3 at least. What are the top 3 picks right there?
I'm going to say what I said earlier, and Rayshawn, you may love this. I do believe that when it is all said and done, the New York Giants and the New England Patriots will have the first top 2 picks in this year's draft. I do believe that the Giants will have the first overall pick. I know that Chicago owns it, but I do think that Carolina can win a game or two. That's just me being optimistic. I'm trying to speak this, into fruition. So, don't mind me being a little delusional, but I do believe, I honestly do think that the Patriots can put themselves in a position to get that second overall pick. And I could see them absolutely taking a player like Drake May if we're keeping 1,000% honest. I could see that absolutely happening. Third overall pick, I do believe that will go to Chicago. And what do they do there? Honestly, if you're asking me, I'm still a fan of Justin Fields. I'm not a fan of his coaching staff that he has. I'm not too sure if I trust Ryan Poles, the GM, either. But that's why I said earlier, can I really blame Caleb? If he does decide to go back, if Chicago owns that first overall pick, do I really want to go to that unorganized, dysfunctional, place of an organization out there in Chicago? Not really. But I do think that they will have the third overall pick. And I think the Giants, again, they'll be number 1. I do believe that New England will be number 2, Chicago number 3. And then I could actually see Chicago getting that 4th pick right there and trading out of that. Because I don't think that they're a good team either. Carolina is a horrible team, but I don't think that the Bears are a good team either. So I could see them having back-to-back picks and trading out of one of them and collecting more draft assets. But it's tough. It's tough because you can make an argument either way. You can make an argument that Carolina doesn't win another game this year because they're that terrible and they get number 1. You can make an argument the draft stays exactly like this.
I could see that.
And I agree with you, Aaron. I could see that too. But
wait, doesn't Carolina own one of these picks?
It's the number 1.
They own the number 1 overall
but
pick.
It's not theirs, if that makes sense.
Theirs,
Yeah, when they traded up to get Bryce Young last year, they traded this year's first round pick with Chicago for that first overall pick last year. So Chicago owns the first overall pick currently and the 5th overall pick. But I do believe that Carolina can put together 1 or 2 wins going down their stretch. It's going to be hard. They're not a good team, but I'm just trying to be optimistic here, and I'm trying to, speak some positivity because, and I'll stop it here and let y'all, get your takes in. But I think either way, for Giants fans, whether it's Drake May or Caleb Williams, we as Giants fans deserve it with the shit that we've went through in the last 7 to 8 years as an organization, as a fan base. I think we deserve it. And I think really, man, for me, it's Caleb. I won't be upset whatsoever if it's Drake May, but I really need to see Caleb in Giants blue. Him with Kafka and Dable. I'm telling you that Caleb Williams and Jalen Hyatt connection will feed generations. Bookmark it.
I'm glad you said that we deserve, because Hollywood Ray and his Patriots don't deserve it. They don't deserve a Drake May. No. They need to go through purgatory like every other team does. And he agrees with it. Nah. So I feel like what the Patriots will do is they'll go the old Patriot way. They'll get Joe Alt from Notre Dame, or they'll get the tackle from Penn State. I feel like it's Bill Belichick. He already tried it, moved up, got Mac Jones. Horrible mistake. I don't think he's going to do it again, getting another quarterback. So hopefully the Patriots go back into the purgatory they were before the Drew Bledsoe days. Let them have their 7 or 8 years of horrible luck, and I can get more Hollywood Ray rants on That's My Sports.
Well, there's no way that the Patriots can afford to stick with Mac Jones. Like, there's already reports saying that he's lost that locker room. So they're going to get a quarterback. I feel like it don't matter, because they're going to put themselves in a position to get one of those picks, whether it be the second pick or even a third pick. Rodney, if the Chicago Bears end up getting this first pick, if the season were to end today and the Panthers finish the worst record, being the worst team, Chicago gets the pick, do they trade that pick back, or do they take a quarterback? Or we haven't talked about Marvin Harrison Jr., which I know the other half of the Giants fan base is looking at in terms of keeping Daniel Jones, letting him play past this ACL thing, and then going and take Marvin Harrison, an electric wide receiver out of Ohio State. How do you think it shakes out?
I don't think Chicago's going to quarterback. I think for some reason, call me crazy, I think they have faith in Justin Fields in some aspect. They have faith in him. The question is with Chicago, what do you need? That's the overall question. What do you need? Do you think Marvin Harrison is going to be that other piece that you need to get you over the top? Honestly, they've done a little bit of good on the defensive side. I definitely don't agree with giving Montez Sweat that big contract, but it is what it is. I don't think they're going to go quarterback. They may likely trade out of that first pick, get more picks, accumulate, and build that team, if that's the route that they go. If they win a couple more games, whether it be with Justin Fields when he gets back or with Tyson Bagent as it is, then, it's a wash. I just don't think that they're going to go quarterback. I think they had a chance to go and get another quarterback last draft. They had that opportunity, but they traded out of that pick because I believe they still have faith in Justin Fields. I'm sorry, Chris. I can't. I'll need to see those guys in their underwear and shorts throwing the ball around to see exactly whether or not Caleb Williams is that guy.
The truth.
Okay. I got to see more. I got to see what they do in the combine. I got to see all that. But if Joe Schoen and those guys have faith in whoever quarterback that they decide to choose, then hey, I'm going to root for him regardless. He's in Giants blue. I'm going to root for him. So I don't think Chicago is going to go quarterback. They may just give up that draft pick, trade out of it. New York, we got to go quarterback. Whoever said as good as that kid is, Marvin Harrison, I'm sorry. We don't need a wide receiver. We need a quarterback.
Who are we going to throw him to?
Exactly.
Is he going to play quarterback? Come on now.
No.
But would I definitely like him? Oh, hell yeah. If Daniel Jones was doing his thing this season, showing us, he is that franchise quarterback, even though we would still suck, and you were able to trade up, hell yeah, go get Marvin Harrison, definitely. But we need a quarterback. Patriots, stick with Mac Jones. Okay,
That's right.
stick with him.
That's right.
Give the kid a chance. All right. I know he hasn't been playing well. I know he hasn't. Okay. He's made some bonehead mistakes like he's still a rookie and he isn't. But give him a chance. He might turn into that second coming of Tom Brady. He just might. Just give him a chance.
He just might.
I love that you said that. I could feel a Hollywood Ray rant coming next week. Love it.
Cardinals.
They're
They're
so
a wild
weird.
card because they need damn near everything. So I can't even guess that one. So, and
Do
again,
we-
Chicago, I'll put it to you like this. I'll give one for Arizona. I can see them picking Marvin Harrison
Likewise.
But does he have that?
Kyler
Does he have that
Murray-
fire in his gut though? Does he have that fire in there?
Did he take the bus to work?
Yeah. Who was Kyler Murray really throwing to? You know, so I
Michael
honestly
Wilson.
yeah.
You
Who's
know-
really throwing to? I can see that if they go with Kyler Murray still, and everything seems to be that, as CP said, nobody's taking that contract. No one.
Hell
So
no.
you gotta have someone for him to throw to. So hey, I can see them taking Marvin Harrison there, but
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, and Rayshawn, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Maybe I'm a little crazy here. I could see if Drake May and Caleb Williams are gone, I could see the Patriots trading back a little bit and taking Bo Nix. I can see something like that happening if Drake May or Caleb Williams is off the board. In terms of Chicago, I'll be honest here, I could see one or two situations happening because I do not believe that Caleb Williams will go to Chicago. I think I could see an Eli Manning type of a situation. I'm sounding crazy as hell, but I could see an Eli Manning type of a situation where he's like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not. So for Chicago, I could see one or two situations, and I don't think Chicago fans would be upset with either or. I could see them going Drake May and Marvin Harrison, which you pair that with DJ Moore, and you got yourself an offense right there.
Dangerous. Yep.
I could also see if Carolina knocks himself out of that first overall pick and they decide, okay, to your point, Rodney, that they believe in Justin Fields and that they're just like, okay, let's build around this dude. I'll be honest. I would select Marvin Harrison, and I would select Joe Alt because I'm putting pieces on the line for Justin Fields so he's not running like a chicken with no head. And I got him a surefire number one wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. You can't go wrong with either or if you're a Bears fan. And I think Bears fans know that. And if they want to get a little spicy, if they're just like, all right, let's say they're at pick number 2 and the Giants have the first pick. If they're just like, all right, we'll go Drake May, who wants the 5th overall pick? Because I believe at that point, Marvin Harrison will be taken by the Cardinals. Collect more assets. That 5th overall pick is still very much valuable. Collect even more assets like you did last year. You already got your quarterback in Drake May. Go get yourself some more pieces. You have a bunch of holes on that team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I could see one of those two situations. Again, May and Harrison and Joe Alt. I think either or. I don't think Bears fans would be upset. I know that there's Bear fans that want Caleb Williams. He ain't going. I'm sorry.
He ain't going.
There's Bears fans that want that Big End kid just because he looks like a Chicago guy. I'm like,
I can't blame him. There's some players that they just look like they belong to certain teams, and I'm like, I can't knock you.
Hey, I'll take Tyson Bagent right about now. I'll take him right about now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Hey, there's another offensive tackle out of Penn State, Fashanu, as well. So, there's all and Fashanu there in terms of offensive tackles that are scheduled to go top 5, or at least mock to go top 5. So, we'll see. Maybe Rodney is speaking something to existence with the Patriots, and they believe Mac Jones is going to be somehow Tom Brady 2.0. They're going to go offensive tackle, like Aaron said. But I think the collective thing and the collective idea here, and that was a joke, by the way, but I think the collective idea here amongst all of us is that we're not taking Brock Bowers, right?
You saw that?
That was in a mock draft. That was in a mock.
That
I'm
was.
like, why do we
It
need
was,
another tight
yes.
end?
That
Hey,
was
ridiculous.
I would not. It's first round pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, not a first round pick. But I will tell you this: you pair him with Daniel Bellinger, that right there. I mean, you have a good blocking tight end. I mean, he's like Travis Kelce right now. He is Travis Kelce. You can. I see you, Aaron. I see you shrugging your face. I'm like, if you see it,
I'm waiting for you to say
he is
book
like
it so I
Travis
can know it's
Kelce
real.
right now.
Listen,
He is Travis Kelce. He can block. Okay, he can block, and that kid can run routes, and he's got good hands. So I'm not saying the first round pick. Not saying the first round pick. But
Yeah, I don't think he will. I think he had an ankle injury or something.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's done for the year or just he's gonna wait for his draft stock, but I know he hurt his ankle.
I'm gonna look directly into my camera right here. Rodney, I'm looking straight at you right now.
I got you.
Giants select Bowers, not even the strongest police force in New York City will be able to remove me out of MetLife Stadium holding John Mara. I promise. I promise you, not even.
I know that they're not.
Police force would be.
I know they're not going to pick him for the first. That's a guarantee. They're not.
That's like a Jerry Reese.
That'd be crazy. Okay?
That's a Dave Gettleman ass move.
That is Dave Gettleman too. That's definitely a Jerry Reese pick.
He was a generational player.
Do y'all follow Talking Giants? Do y'all follow Talking Giants with I remember when the Giants were bad a couple seasons ago, they were so fed up. They started the slogan of like "Burn MetLife" or something like that.
Yeah,
burn
they
down.
did.
Yeah,
they did. And
that was my favorite shit.
I don't blame it. Honestly, at times I'm like, you know what? Our stadium's ugly as hell, anyways, and they're too cheap to add additions to the stadium. They're too stuck in their ways. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go on a rant, but I do believe that the Maras are very stuck in the past. In terms of that stadium, tradition, this, tradition, that, tradition, these nuts. We need I want to see at least a revitalized stadium and not a stadium that looks like it's stuck in 1980.
I just want grass.
But it's the little thing. Well, you see, this how bad our team is. We're talking about stadiums. If they could just add little details like they do when they play in their alternate jerseys, I think the Giants fans would shut up. I really do. I think they'd be like, all right, it's something. We'll take it. You saw how fans reacted when they added a logo to the middle of the field? Come on.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Hey, I know we're going on a while here. My last question to you all is with the tight end situation, since we're on the Brock Bowers discussion. Darren Waller not coming back, is he?
I don't think so.
We're not saying Darren Waller.
I think he's shut down for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah.
What do you gain from bringing him back? That's another thing too. What do you gain from bringing him back and re-aggravating that hamstring? And it sucks because I had expectations for this dude, and I'm not going to get too hard on him. This team as a whole has sucked. This offense as a whole has sucked. There's been bright moments with him, especially when we played Washington. This past time when he got his first touchdown. But yeah.
There's some sort of opt-out in his contract though after this year though. I'm not sure if you guys know about that. So is that a player or a team opt-out? I'm curious.
And I could see it being a team opt-out. I'm actually not entirely sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
But do you think they would though? like, do you? I could see that being a situation where they say, okay, if we're going to draft the opposite of Dave Gettleman, right? If we're going to draft a quarterback, let's give him a fucking weapon in Darren Waller. I mean, you might not have a lot of games with him, but like, I'm sure by week one, hopefully, fingers crossed, he would be healthy. And if we have a new quarterback, that's an excellent weapon to give your young rookie quarterback.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this Darren Waller contract too, because I'm seeing conflicting things. I'm looking on Spotrac and they're pretty reliable, but there's a
There's a
potential
potential
out.
out. Yep, 2024.
Yeah, but it doesn't say whether it's a team or player, which I'm assuming it would be a team because I don't know. I gotta look that up. But
Yeah, so
anyways, that's
it'd be
neither
like
here nor there.
7.8 in dead cap.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. This I will leave it at that. This is the draft order. We're pretty much looking forward to the draft now. The Terod situation is going to play out how it does. John Mayer is going to do what he does best and preserve that winning culture, that we have. Obviously, you have a rich history, but this past decade has been a debacle. And to play yourself out of a top quarterback in this draft when you have a direct opportunity to take one of those guys in the top five, it would be absolutely asinine and egregious. So, this has been the Feeling Blue podcast, running, a little bit over time, but I definitely appreciate everyone's time. Chris, Hit Squad, Aaron, Rodney, from the Feeling Blue Corner or the Big Blue Corner. Sorry, I'm mixing our podcast names now. We're like all one cohesive unit here. So I'm going to let you guys plug yourself. Chris, take it away. Plug all your work. You guys are doing great work. All of you guys are doing great work. And I'm going to say this, subscribe to everyone's channel down in the description. Take it away.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you so much for having me back on the channel. Like I said earlier, it's always a great time being on here, being able to chop it up with you guys. Rodney, you already know I got love for you, man. Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube under Hit Squad Productions, on Twitter, Hit Squad Prod, PROD, and then you can put 2 spaces or backspaces. One of the spaces, you'll see it if you put that in it. We talk all things New York Giants. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you.
Definitely. Rodney, take it away.
NYG_4L for life. New York Giants for life. You can catch me on Twitter, and I'm still getting my page up. I'm still getting my videos out. I got 3 more that I've done, and I just got to get them posted out. But other than that, appreciate you guys having me. Thank you very, very much.
Definitely. Aaron, everyone knows where to find you, but go ahead and take it away with That's My Sports. I'm going to go ahead. I don't have the Twitters up in this description, but as soon as we get off here, I'm going to link you guys' Twitters as well, and the YouTubes are already there. So, Aaron, take it away, and then we're going to take it out.
Yep, you already know. So it's That's My Sports on YouTube, and same thing with TikTok. For X or Twitter, however you want to say it now, it's _TMS podcast. We follow anybody that follows us, and vice versa. If you want to see me and my regular, it's the Cast Man. I had to switch it 3 times because Chris, my sports, was tired of saying the long one. We also do Blue Shirts banner. So any Rangers fans that are Giants fans is watching this or gonna watch this, we do that as well. Great episode we just did yesterday with Sunny Days Flushing, Jerry. So check that one out on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, CPNY Sports is everywhere, folks. He is doing Mets stuff, this stuff, Rangers, Knicks. I haven't seen in a while, but the Locked on Locks, I don't know if that's still going on.
Yeah.
But if not, check that out. And he does a lot of betting, folks. So you could probably make some money off of him.
There you go. I've been feeling some FanDuel cash flow coming in too. So we get Locked On Locks back up with my boy Josh here. But this has been the Feeling Blue podcast. I appreciate it. This is a struggle to get through in terms of this regular season. We're going to push through. We're going to be here. We're going to be, going on Hit Squad's channel. We're going to be coming on Feeling Blue. We're going to be doing content for the rest of the way. Bear with us, though. The off-season is going to be where we shine and thrive. You can bring some off-season news and sort of start to restructure this roster in terms of being competitive, especially heading into the draft, the 2024 draft. So thank you, everybody, for rocking with us. Thank you, everybody, tuning in today. Shout out Coach. Shout out Stevie. Shout out Hollywood Ray. Shout out Jaden, all the listeners. Appreciate you dropping the comments. And anybody listening here on the rerun that didn't get a chance to watch it live, appreciate you as well. It's your boy CP here with the boys, Chris from Hit Squad, Aaron, and Rodney from the Big Blue Corner. Thank you so much. Catch y'all later.